Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa, marketing lead at Adina, and you're listening to The Beauty Curtain. This is a podcast that draws back the curtain on the beauty and personal care industry. And today we're coming to you live from SCS Formulate 2023. And we're very excited to welcome Richard Illi, owner and CEO of Essencia, one of our amazing suppliers here at Adina, onto the podcast. So welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
So we're very excited to have you on. How are you finding the show this year?
Well, I think it's pretty good so far. A bit more activities as last year. I think clearly we finally see that COVID is over and people are there. A lot of interest on our side also for our natural perfumes, but I think we'll talk about it later. Very positive first half day, 1.5 day, I would say. Yeah.
That's great to hear. I do feel that the show has been quite bustling and it's already quite busy today.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised. Usually after the first night, it's slow to start, but this morning it started quite good, and we still have the afternoon to go. So let's see.
Exactly, excellent. So before we dive into Essencia, I would love for our viewers to know a bit more about you and your personal background in cosmetics and in the personal care industry. So can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Okay, yeah, sure. First of all, it's not about my background in cosmetic or in personal care, because I'm not at all coming from this area. I'm specialized in the perfumery industry, which is an important part, but quite different than the rest of all the other principles you're working with or the ones that are exposing here. But we'll come on that later on. So my background is basically I'm a chemical engineer, so a master degree there. I have an MBA as well, studied in Switzerland. I'm Swiss. Then started to work for one of the leaders of the fragrance industry, a company called Firmenich, with its headquarters in Geneva in Switzerland. Recently, they merged with DSM, so now it's known about DSM Firmenich. With Firmenich, I had many different posting and responsibilities. First, I worked in quality for the European market, but on the flavor side, so more food related. Then I moved 6 years in China. It was at the beginning of the year 2000s, where I look after a joint venture there. I look at the operations and sales for the Chinese market, for the local customers in the perfumery. And after 6 years, I relocated shortly back to Switzerland to work in the global supply chain of Firmenich. And after 1 year, I moved again back to Asia with the family. We went to Singapore, where I was in charge of the regional supply chain for flavors and fragrance. And the last 3 years of my 6 years in Singapore, I was global head of supply chain for the perfumery business. So during my 18 years at Firmenich, I would say I had about 10 years more focus on perfumery. The rest was both businesses. Then in 2011, I came back with the family. We came back to Switzerland. We live in the German part of Switzerland, so in Zurich. But my mother tongue, as probably some of you will realize, is French, because there's a French part, there's a German part, an Italian part in Switzerland. So I come from the French part, but I now move to Zurich, to the German one. And then I had the chance to acquire Essencia. And Essencia is really, we'll talk more about the company, but it was a company founded in 1949, starting with essential oils, then adding perfume to it. And for me, it was a chance to apply basically everything I learned in the industry. And at the same time, with my MBA, getting a bit the excitement of being an entrepreneur, your own boss, being able to put your vision, your strategy in place, and so that I've been busy doing in the last 10 years.
So what was that like, moving from such a global company like Firmenich to running your own business, Essencia?
I think it's a big shock. So you're right. I moved from multinationals, working globally. I was leading a division of more than 1,000 people with, all the organization, all the different strategic work you're doing, dealing with global customers, the biggest ones in the industry. And out of a sudden, you end up in a company nobody knows, except in Switzerland, with about 15, 20, at the time we were 15 people. you start to do everything alone. Before I had executive assistants and so on. You really, you know, it's a big shock, honestly. It took me maybe 2 years to really get to understand and to lose some of the, I would say, bad habits of the big corporations, because when you're a big corporation, you know, you have a lot of means, so you do projects, you take time, you implement, and so on. In small companies, you have to be very fast. You have to react. To give you an example, the first year after we acquired the company, our sales in Essentials went down by 50%, which made about 30% overall of the sales of the business. And we had to react very quickly to save the company. So that was my first big decision of cutting our prices by an average 25%. So this was in fact a good thing for me, because it just showed me how different it is. So, you know, you're alone. The other part is also everything you think strategically, it's in your head. You think it's right, but the market will basically tell you. You don't have that many people who will challenge you and so on. So these are part of the challenge you get. And of course, it's a personal involvement. So you start to have to pay the salaries from your pocket, literally. Some years were not so good. So, you know, it's an investment. You put everything you had, your energy, your wealth, everything, your passion into it. But the rewards are there, and one of them is always meeting customers, working with our distributors and partners in the countries. And I think like everybody, when you get, you know, someone happy with your product, you know that you're doing the right thing. So you're also much closer to the customer, so that's the satisfaction that you get as well.
So I guess the risk was worth it.
We shall see. I mean, yeah, hopefully. It's still, it depends how you mention it, but I think, yes, from a personal point of view, definitely, yeah.
Excellent. So I guess that's a great point to move more onto Essencia, and I'd love to know what you've already touched upon this a little bit, but what you specialize in or what you're famous for, and maybe why Essencia is different from other perfumeries.
Okay, so first of all, Essencia is really specialized in two areas. The first one is, in fact, our origin is the essential oils. But being based in Switzerland, most of people say, hang on a minute, they don't produce any essential oils. That's true. There's a little bit of the industry of essential oil, but it's mainly for food or aromatherapy. It's organics, so it's not something suitable for the personal and body care. I mean, the personal industry overall. So we specialize into selecting our partners, selecting the oils, doing all the quality control, using our perfumers to smell the oils. And that gives us already our natural, you know, origin, if you want. So since the beginning, we've been working very closely with natural raw materials. Then we added the normal synthetic fragrances that we all use, and that's still the major part of the perfumery industry, and I think that will remain. And then when I acquired the business with my partner at that time, now it's my own business, but at that time I acquired a business with a partner. We looked at how can we differentiate ourselves in the market, thinking more about the export business. Coming to the UK with normal fragrances, what I call synthetic fragrances, normal fragrances, we not really had a lot of interest for Adina, for example, for anybody. There's enough very good suppliers. So when we look at this, we said we need to find our USP, and our USP is definitely the natural fragrances. It was maybe in 2012 already a bit kind of early. I thought the move towards natural fragrances would come faster. The reality is, I think we are just now really starting to see more companies using natural perfumes. But the fact that we have been more than 10 years now, focusing our efforts on creating natural perfumes, give us really our special edge towards a lot of our colleagues in the industry who are now all doing natural fragrances, but they basically started, most of them in 20s after COVID, where they saw, there's something there. The other part is that my perfumers, they're working 75% of their time in the creation of natural perfumes. You won't find a lot of companies in the perfume industry with this kind of ratio. At best, it will be the opposite, 25% creation of natural and the rest is synthetic. The last part that makes us special, I think, is our MOQs. we believe that the first commitment of our company towards our sustainability responsibilities is to give the potential to our clients to buy what they need and not what we would like to sell. Of course, like everybody else, I'm very happy to get a 50 kilo, 100, 200 kilos order. But if you need for a serum or something special just 1 kilo of a perfume, you know that you can get it at Essencia. So I think that's in a nutshell some of the key uniqueness, if you want, of our company.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, especially to hear that Essencia is also accessible in terms of MOQs. I didn't know that, so that's great to know. A question though, why focus on natural fragrance over maybe essential oils or synthetics?
Well, synthetic, I just mentioned it before. It's the fact that basically there's many other players. They are all good, or some better than the others, but there are enough competition. So I think as a small company, you need to focus on your resources on one key offering, and definitely this is the natural fragrances. Why natural fragrances and not essential oils? Again, we are maybe also unique there. I forgot to mention that, is that usually in the essential oils business, there are people who produce some themselves and trade others, and they are specialized in essential oils. So we get the specialization of understanding the properties in the selection, in the qualification of the oils. We don't produce ourselves. So I think in terms of, that's what makes us different than the essential oils producers. We have a very large portfolio. And at the same time, as a perfume house, we offer essential oils because we think it's complementary, especially typically we have a lot of customers, that are contract manufacturers. They buy from us the perfume, they buy from us essential oils. So for them, it's quite nice to have a supplier who can for both, and you don't have that many in the fragrance industry. Now, natural fragrancing, it really came from the fact that we knew that there was a natural skincare, body care move coming, at the end of the 2005, 2010. And it's growing, and it's always still growing now. It's going to be growing, I think, a bit more like in a kind of accelerated way. At least that's what I expect, and I think that's what we're seeing this year especially. The market is going this direction. But for us, it's really the specialization, because the essential oils represent about 1/3 of our raw materials. The other thirds are part of essential oil that we call isolate. So we are expert in that. And we are expert in perfumery. So you put the two together, we look at the market, that makes our specialization clear.
Yeah, and I do agree. You can definitely see more of an uptake in natural everything, really. And at the show, there's a lot of reflection of that. So, question of the show. What is new from Essencia this year?
Well, Essencia today, we believe that we were, for the first time, it has been a long project, but for the first time we show a collection of 100% natural fine fragrances. So why did I say it was a long project, and it's a first, and it's quite unique, I believe, in the industry, even for the B2C brands, because most of them, they will be 95, 98% natural. Today, we believe that with the 350 raw materials that we have at our disposal in the natural fragrance business, we have enough with good perfumers who are expert in fine fragrance, in natural fragrances, to do really good fine fragrance. And not fine fragrance where people smell, say, yeah, it's natural, I'm missing something. So that was a long project of more than 3 years. There have been, I don't know how many reworks for each of the perfumes. So that was just to show, in fact, what is possible and to demonstrate to the market, look, today you can really, in most of the application, in most of the olfactive direction, compare synthetic fragrances with natural. So this is no more a question of, but you're not able to do that. Now, we also have, of course, the fine fragrance collection. This is more for the show to demonstrate. It's a nice little, I would say, project for the perfumers. But we did also a version for skincare and the body care in terms of price as well, because you need to be realistic as well. It's so this is really our big new collection for this year.
Wow, so I would recommend to everyone to have a look in the description box. We'll have all the information on Essencia's new fine fragrances down there, and also your Instagram as well. So I guess this is a great place to finish. Thank you so much for joining us, Richard.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thanks again to you and the whole team of Adina for your amazing work in UK for us. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. And thank you, Harrison, for producing this podcast. So as I just said, all information will be in the description box below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.